join with CEOs, CHROs, and CTOs to gain best practices and practical tools for a winning future of business. Advanced technology is transforming HR from back-office admin functions to high-impact leadership driver. Asia CEO Events welcomes the CEO and COO of global enterprise software provider RAMCO Systems to the Philippines. Hear them describe world-beating innovations that are elevating employee experience, strategic AI implementation, data-driven decision-making, and diverse work models, and more. Our speakers for today include This exclusive invitation-only Asia CEO event is for CEOs, CHROs, CTOs, and friends to welcome RAMCO Systems as they establish a major presence in the Philippines. Please welcome Mr. Richard Mills.
Okay. Sorry, I got all excited. Our friends, many of you are here. This was supposed to be a kind of a smaller event, and maybe if you saw some of my emails, this was the original intention, but it kind of became a bit larger. So we even got a grand looking stage here. So really nice to have everyone. We want everyone to meet and so forth. So, you know, I'll go through in a minute and we'll make some introductions, but it's nice to have another, you know, global software company coming to the country and making a big focus here. You're going to see a lot more of that. We are getting calls and so forth. Two countries that have a lot of synergies and close relationships is Philippines and India. The two countries really seem to have done well in business process outsourcing and are at a kind of a takeoff stage for our economies. So it's an exciting time for all of us, and part of that is, you know, globalizing with software and systems that both not just appeal to young people, but really excite them and get things moving ahead. So let me just quickly go through, just so our big Indian guys know that there's lots of big things here in Philippines that they can be impressed with. Let me just go through the audience here just quickly. And who are you, my dear? Could you stand and tell everybody? Just quickly or I'll get killed.
I'm Rose Ong from Wilcon Depot.
Thank you for coming. This is the country's largest building supply organization. You see them everywhere. I'm a big customer, I gotta say. Yes, okay, we all are. Please, can you...
Yeah, my name is Chris Castaneda and I work for Drake International.
Okay, very nice to have you. A pleasure. Oh, this is our good friend. Please stand.
Hi, I'm Monica Moralet. I'm with PSG Global Solutions. I'm also here with PJ Vergara. He's head of talent with Find HR.
Good, and this is claimed to be, and a good case to make, as the world's largest recruiting outsourcer operation. So a very successful thing. Maybe, can we have some hands for some of these people? Yes. Who's this guy?
Hi guys, my name is Patrick Salazar. I'm country head for Tech Mahindra. Thank you.
Very good, very successful here. Please. Who's gonna?
Hi, I'm Attorney Nikki Espiritu from Airspeed Group. With me is our Chief IT Officer, Ms. Liza Marquez.
Very successful in the logistics side, one of the country's leading operations. Please, who's gonna?
All right, Joyce from Santa International Group, Global HR for the group.
And you have operations in how many countries now?
Oh yeah, we are operating in 10 countries of operation. So name it from the Asia one, Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, Indonesia is the next big thing for the group. And we also have Middle East, UAE, Qatar, and upcoming case, and of course USA. And Cyprus for the Europe. All right.
Oh yeah, Carlo, okay.
Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Carlo Mata with White & Case. I'm the country head. White & Case is a global law firm, and the Manila office has been here for about 17 years and the third largest of the firm.
Wow. Been a very successful operation. Very much. We're really proud of it. Sunil of Cognizant is here. Really glad to have you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm Sunil. I'm in the Philippines for last 11 years, loving to be here. And yeah, I think work-wise, work with Cognizant, and right now also here personally to meet and connect with each other here. Yeah. Thank you.
So I'll welcome up to the stage.
Oh, thank you.
His nickname he goes by is Ramaz, right?
Yeah.
Chief Customer Officer of RAMCO and doing a lot of work.
Thank you very much.
And we're really glad to have him. Okay, very good.
A very, very good morning to all of you. Like Richard said, when we started this, we thought it would be, small group, but I think it's just expanded, and great to see all the captains of the industry here and a lot of BPO, IT firms. So really excited to welcome all of you and many from the HR fraternity. So it's a pleasure that we have you today with us. And before we start off, we just run a quick video for you.
Something exciting is brewing at RAMCO.
We are coming with something big this new year.
People in the industry are already talking about it. We have come to buzzword. We are sitting on something that can redefine the way payroll operates. The kind of innovation we are trying to bring to the payroll market. It's going to be something transformational, something magical and powerful, operative, fresh in the market. The latest cutting-edge, future-proof products. The speed at which it works, lightning fast, masterpiece, beautiful user experience. Really, really exciting times ahead for the payroll industry at large. I'm sure it will make a great difference for people. We're going to see a different RAMCO, and that's going to blow everybody. Can't wait till you check it out. It's effortless, it's fast, it's precise.
Thank you very much for the motivation. We all need some in the morning, apart from the coffee, the handshakes can be generous. Thank you. Now, coming back, before, I would also like to probably invite Loris, who leads the HR, for us in HR business for us in Philippines. And we would like to start off the day with her, before I pick it up back from her. So, Loris, good morning. Welcome.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Sorry for that, medyo may na-delay. So thank you. Echoing what Rama said, I would like to thank everyone for being here. And I would just like to greet everyone a Happy Chinese New Year. Can you greet your seatmates also? Kong hei fat choy. So since it's just the beginning of the year 2024, I would just like to know, how was your year 2024 so far? If you can rate yourselves, 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest, and share it to your seatmates. How's your year so far? It's just February. How's your year so far? 5 being the highest. Yeah. 4. 5. Wow. Sana all 5. Wow, it's so nice. Yeah. Sana all 5. And it's a good year to start having 5 in your list, right? And for you, 2020 year for you is the year of what? Dragon, prosperity. What else? Wala na? Yeah. So tama naman lahat yon. All your answers are correct. 2020 year is the year of the dragon and prosperity. But for some, 2020 year is the year of what? Break up. So I'm sure everyone is very familiar with these top 4 celebrities who just ended their relationships recently, right? So you know them. And but for some, breakup is not really just about ending the relationships or romantic relationships, right? For some, it's about employee saying goodbye to their employers, or employers ending the relationship with their employees as well. Or sometimes it's all about business partners switching businesses or business partners as well. So that's actually how talks about when we talk about breakups. So that's why it's very important for us to know the key reasons for breakup. First is, medyo lumiit lang po siya. First is the compatibility. Sometimes we were saying, sorry, it's not what you need, or it's not what I need anymore. Or sometimes we say it's all about functionality, or it's not working anymore. Me and my relationship with my coworkers, with my classmates, or with my colleagues or friends, it's not working anymore. It's not functioning anymore. And sometimes we say, I don't feel good when we're together. So it talks about chemistry in the relationship. So these are the top 3 key reasons why breakup usually happens. So that's why it is very important for us to nurture these things, the compatibility, functionality, and chemistry, which leads me to my next slide about RAMCO, on how we were able to build a solid relationship for the 25 years by cultivating the chemistry, compatibility, and functionality. Actually, we've been serving the Philippine market for 25 years now, and we thank some of our clients who are here, who've been supporting RAMCO and who've been trusting RAMCO in terms of their payroll solutions. And we're also the center of excellence for the whole ASEAN region. Our Philippines as being the heart of the Asia and Pacific, and we're the highest contributor of the Asia and Pacific. And here in the Philippines, we have our local and payroll BPO centers here in the Philippines. We can see the faces here. We have locals, we have internationals as well. So we have our local processors and even the support team we have here in the Philippines. And even the implementation team you can see also here in RAMCO office. So that's about RAMCO System Philippines. And I would like to call on again Ramas to run us through the growth journey for the past years of RAMCO System. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Loris. It was just a starter because Loris said there is something trending here, and people will connect with the breakups more than the payroll. So I said, okay, let's give it more airtime. But nonetheless, I think the message is quite clear. We have been here. RAMCO as a brand is very pervasive. And just stepping back a minute, if you look at it, sorry. So if you take a step back and see how the journey with RAMCO has evolved. As a group, we have been in business for close to 85 years, and Philippines has more than a decade, and it's been a great journey for us till now. And if you look at it from 2000, so if you look at it, if you step back a little bit in time, from 2014 onwards, a decade back, we started with probably around 10 million pay slips, increasing up to 22 as we reached 2016. And today, if you look at it, we process more than 36 million pay slips, as a whole yearly. So this is a great, growth that we have seen, and this number is going to be doubling now. And it's because of the need in the market today, and this is where RAMCO comes in to, create, that innovation and the IP. So if you look at where this entire, growth is headed to, sorry. Oh, yeah. Okay. So if you look at it again, we have grown tremendously on the back of technology. So one thing you need to take away today is RAMCO has always been ahead of the curve. So we actually got in SaaS. We launched SaaS much ahead of everybody else. If you look at transactions, bots, if you look at machine learning, integration of GPT, chat GPT, a lot of these features that are there, RAMCO is in the forefront, and before the market does, we are much, much ahead. And all these innovations is what is driving the business for us. That's where the users like it. Because payroll is payroll. There's nothing sexy about it. But how do you make it cool? And I think that's where the technology comes from. How do you ease the life of the processor? How do you make it in a way that can elevate the entire employee engagement experience? So, a lot of innovations that have defined our DNA. And if you look at it, we also are deeply working with many of the partners. You see Workday, Oracle, but any of the other larger systems that you take, we have standard integrations or connectors that we have developed with these people also. And from 2014, when we were around 140 plus, to more than 500 plus customers today. So it's quite, quite an exciting journey of growth. And Jen? If you look at it, this has also been fueled primarily by the IP that we bring on. So we have a platform. If you look all the blue dots, these are where RAMCO today has the platform for over 60 plus countries. So we have the solution covering all these countries, the statutory, and we are able to work across multiple industries. So we cut across verticals where we are able to provide customers with a solution on that. And today, more than 50 of the Fortune 500 companies are working with RAMCO. So I think the comfort they get in terms of increased visibility, the comfort in terms of embracing innovation, making it future-proof, the comfort that they get in terms of being able to centrally look at the data in a coordinated manner across, that creates a great deal of excitement. And with this kind of coverage, if you look at it, the market is also huge. The total size of the market is around $52 billion. And out of this, if you break it into outsourcing, which is quite prevalent in Philippines also, very prominent, the outsourcing industry, BPO, and the platform. So platform is around 12 billion and the outsourcing is around 40 billion. But if you look at platform, this is actually growing at a faster pace, or it's supposed to grow at a faster pace. This is where RAMCO is actually investing into technology. And by virtue of this investment, it would provide a seamless way for people also to provide services on top of this technology. So this is where the entire game is unfolding, and what you see there is the market size that we are looking at. So it's a huge growth zone that we are looking at, and driven by the platform. When you look at this kind of potential, there are also problems. And if you look at it, we had done a study. We had done it with ecosystem, and we did the study across some of the CXOs, CHROs, payroll managers across ASEAN. And we found that 70% of them were complaining about differing tax and labor laws. Very difficult to get into a country and say what is statutory, what is not. It could be quite gray, it is all about interpretation. So can I have somebody who possesses the ability to tell me, hey, look, this is what, we bring in terms of your, compliances. Multiple and evolving pay components. So changes in the structure, multiple pay components that keep getting added. I need something that should be flexible, easy to use. Can I get it instead of going through multiple change requests, a long route? Can I do it myself? I think that's another pain that employees, the payroll processes are looking at. Employees working from multiple locations. So after COVID, prior to COVID, it was all, on-site. After COVID, it became off-site, and now it's hybrid. Some organizations are hybrid, some have come back, but people still want a mechanism to monitor what is the work you're doing, what is the output being given, how many hours are you working, are you working overtime or no. Given this duality today, some people are working from home, some are here, it becomes very important to have a common way of measuring and making sure they are adhering so that you don't slip up on the compliances. So you could be working in another state versus this state. So when you move on, the taxes that need to be paid also need to be computed accordingly. So with the increasing number of gig economy, part-time workers, many of them choose to work at their own pace. You have Gen Zs who have their own perspectives. So how do you make sure that you take all these complexities and provide us a solution? So the key focus areas for any payroll function, very simple: accurate and timely payroll process. Data security is a very big issue today. Even in Philippines, you have data protection officers. There are rules in terms of what you need to abide by. You have decision making. Can I have intelligent, intuitive analysis based, and insights based on my data today? It's not only a data, but with this I can actually decipher and change a lot of things, empower the employees, create new experiences. So, a lot of decision making using payroll and faster implementation of solutions. So we had come across cases where the implementations used to take long, but now people are looking at days and weeks, not months or years. So there needs to be a system that is able to address it, be scalable, and support the current needs of the industry. Let me just pause on and see what the industry has to say about RAMCO.
Starting from 2008, maybe supporting our payroll initially for around countries, and then now to about 20 countries. So we need to have great systems, and at the same time, we need to have great partners. And I think that's where a company like RAMCO is fantastic.
The continual improvement, the ease of use, and their innovation. The RAMCO team are always driving to be best product in the market.
In the most recent project, we have shown me the technological problem, especially that the data integration implementation, they can implement it timely and with impressive accuracy.
I've had the distinct pleasure of researching and working with RAMCO now for about 8 years. We look at things like the self-explaining payslip, their zero UI mantra, and touchless payroll. All those things are incredibly important to the future of payroll and HR, and RAMCO has been there first, really setting the bar high.
I met the RAMCO team in 2006. Means we're going on 18 years. It's not just a technology play, it's technology and services and consulting and advisory. And when a customer gets a comprehensive or a total solution, the risk is lowered, the value is made higher or elevated.
When I think of the brand, innovation is always one of the first things that comes to mind. Technology, future forward-looking solutions, and I think that's become very synonymous with the RAMCO brand.
So it's always about staying ahead of the game. And today, with all the challenges that are thrown, at an organization, from a payroll perspective, how do we make sure that we can elevate the life of the processor, elevate the employee experience, elevate the end user experience, for which today we have the next big thing at RAMCO. So this is what we want to share, unveil today. And I would request my colleague, Frank, who heads the solution consulting and advisory for Asia, to take us through the next big thing at RAMCO. Frank.
Thank you, Ramesh. Hi, everyone. So I'm really excited to be with our customers and partners and prospective customers. And in August gathering that we are very privileged and honored to share our next big thing at RAMCO. So before we could share what is the next big thing at RAMCO, I think we take a moment to think where the industry is moving. So what we see is that we are at a cusp of a major transformation, where we see the payroll functions in an organizations are no longer doing a back office job anymore, right? Say they are becoming a more of strategic powerhouse within the organizations, contributing strategically, playing a strategic role in the organization. And that's what we can see that's the major transformation happening in the industry as a whole. And when we see this changes happening, we were wondering what got translated, where the payroll functions and departments are no longer just keep generating the pay slips and contributing to paychecks, cutting the paychecks, all that. Rather, they are moving into more into the boardrooms, more contributing strategically with respect to the workforce strategy within the organization, and as well as the various plans around like how to retain talents, how to retain workforce, and as well as how we engage with the talents and with the employees in the organization. So I think that's becoming a very key, vital role which they play in. And when we looked at this, where from all this happening around and why this transformation disrupting it, especially when the digital transformation all around, we see that. So what is this all about? Like, so we see a big paradigm shift, like, which happened last 2 to 3 years, like, especially with the pandemic around, and I think all of us went through that tough cycle, like, wherein, like, people got confined to the homes and started doing remote working, and thankfully, like, we moved on from a remote working as of now, like, we moved on to hybrid working, and that brings in a lot of challenges, like, to the employers, like, wherein especially, like, how quickly and agile they support the workflows in terms of payroll functions. So what you look at is, like, people, like, when in hybrid working, they work and live and work in different places. So the work continues, like, beyond work and at home or at remote places or when they move in. So what happens is, like, the payroll function has to support multiple countries in order to compute the compliances and the taxes around. So if an employee is working, like, say, in your provinces, like, he's living in Manila, in Metro Manila, but he's working in Cebu, or if he moves around in different countries, like, 5 days he works in Philippines and 10 days he works in Singapore and moves back. So the HR leaders have to take care of the compliances, the tax computations, and quickly bring in the addition of countries where you expand within the payroll functions. So this is imposing challenges, like, to the organizations, like, where how quickly they adopt and support all of this. And hybrid working, it also brings in also, like, how you collect the data. Like, so when you work from home, like, how do you get the data in terms of their working attendance? So if there's a blue collars, if you have a blue collars, their attendance needs to be collected, and that's where, like, how you do attendance collections, the overtimes, how they perform, are they really working, do I need to geofence them, do I need to collect the data, how do the data come into the payroll? So all these challenges imposes, like, where, like, this challenge is brought into the functions, like, how the payroll as a function has to transform. So the next thing which we could also see is, like, the changing demographics of the workforce and employees, right? Especially the gig economy hitting the industries, and where we see that more and more workforce moving towards temporary or short-term contracts or freelance work, right, as opposed to permanent jobs, and that brings in the competing challenges. How we, like, pay them? How do you, like, agile compute? How do you comply in terms of the labor law compliances and all of them? And more, I think you will see this group of people, like, more emerging in the organizations, where the payroll has to redefine themselves, like, to support and ensure that the talents are retained, and the churn is going to be much more, and where how you settle them. And that means your payroll is no longer going to be, like, in a defined time frame. So it's not going to be a monthly or a fortnightly or semi-monthly. It could be on the go. The payroll has to happen, like, to settle different groups of people at different points in time. And this is something, like, is totally disrupting the entire thing, and how, like, payroll is becoming in the front seat, like, contributing. And likewise, we also see when all this remote working, it all comes in, it blurs the line between work and life, right, totally. So where HR leaders are, like, prioritizing their employees' well-being and their mental health. So that poses challenges, like, for the payroll in the boardroom to think about what are the various strategies they can bring along in terms of, like, to supporting this mental well-being of the employees, especially, like, what if redefinition of policies as opposed to, like, how quickly we'll adopt, and as well as to support their remote working. And when it comes to the financial planning, the employees look into their payroll data quite efficiently, and they would like to draw insights more and more. And as an employee, I get to, like, see that, what is I'm drawing and where is my increase in pay is going to happen. So much more insights, like, the employee is demanding from the payroll, right? So that's something, like, is also disrupting. And finally, like, we are in the data era, right? So with this so much of information and data on payroll and these informations, and payroll has to use this information at demand to provide strategic insights on this data. And with the generative AI and artificial intelligence coming in, the industry is becoming more and more intelligent serving and more strategically contributing, more and more bringing in the pattern of insight, from the data, from the patterns, redefine their strategy and workforce in the organizations. And these are some of the challenges we see in the organizations, and the business sentiments is around this. I think most of this you would agree that from sentiment says that the standardization and consolidation of payroll operations are very critical. So we see that plenty of organizations are going through this exercise of standardizing, consolidating to handle these challenges, to handle this disruption. And likewise, a seamless integration across multiple touch points, because your workforce is all over. And there are different systems you're using. You're globally operating and locally functioning. And there are multiple systems, how seamlessly you integrate, how you to ensure that the timely data is received. And likewise, payroll is no-go, so you have to have zero errors, accuracy, timely payments is very critical, and faster implementation. And right now, the business are moving fast. Every day, the business are redefining itself, that new business models evolve, and new strategies are getting in. For that, the application has to, you have to have applications which has a faster implementation, where you onboard an entity or onboard a payroll compliance, onboard a policy very quickly, so that you support the workforce. Likewise, from a data perspective, real-time insights, getting it, and a payroll compliance, which is very critical. So the compliance, because it's compliance-driven, and we could see that there are many directors have been put behind bars because of the compliance breach when it comes different countries, whereas stringent laws are there. And likewise, to retain talents, you will have to have a very good even user experience, and that is a paramount importance in today's world. And of course, for the payroll team and for the payroll operators and payroll administrators who are there, they need to have a simplified operations. So their life has to be easy, and their pain areas to be taken into account. And interestingly, while we work with our various payroll associations, and interestingly, we see a statistics from an Australia payroll associations that it says that 45% of payroll administrators are getting burnt out, in their job of managing day in and out of the payroll functions, right? So these are the business sentiments which we look at, across. So that's wherein, RAMCO sat through, 1.5 years back. We spoke to various customers, industry, analysts, and as well as our partners, and we did our own survey, and we went to the drawing board in terms of how we take and support the industry, which is getting into rapid revolution. And that's wherein within 1.5 years back, within RAMCO, we had our innovation team, and as well as engineering product development team, they have come up with a revolutionary platform, which we are very proud and very elated to introduce that and to show that to you. And here it is. So ladies and gentlemen, this is PAYCE. So your payrolling is going to be never the same before what you'll be doing. So let me take you through the entire product, which we are very, very happy and very elated in terms of sharing that with you. PAYCE comes up, the product, the new grown product that comes up with 4 key tenets there and 4 major modules within the operations, focusing towards employees, you and me in the organizations, right from top to bottom. So how is it going to change their life? And the key aspects of payroll workspace, that's wherein how in the life of a payroll function is going to be there within the organizations, where how they're going to be enabled to play that strategic role within the organization. And the implementation kit, probably this is one of the revolutionary module that comes in within that, enabling the customers to in an agile way to implement and scale up and expand their operations and quickly adopt the policies within the application. And of course, the data being data that you have a reporting insights that builds in. So when it comes to employees across, we support 60 plus countries. So 60 plus countries, localizations are handled. So employee experience, we are going to give it has a compendium of a cool experience in terms of providing all what an employee need to know and what he is supposed to do in the organization. So that is something is going to cover that. Payroll workspace is going to totally revolutionize the payroll operations and as well as the life of payroll administrators within the organizations, right from receiving the data to processing, validating, complying, supporting in terms of reporting and as well as submissions, end-to-end, what you do that, and providing the transparency what is required and getting the real-time insights. And the implementation as to how the application comes with a compendium of pre-built localizations, the rules, and a rule engine where you can go and define the rules by yourself without any coding required. And the data analytics, the dashboarding and reporting that is given with real-time analytics that is being provided. So we're going to take you through this journey, in each of these towers, what are those unique functions that are salient features that's going to cover and change and bring in this revolution within the organization. This is how it looks like a daily HR, which is any employee in the organization will get to see. So in a dashboard, a single view dashboard, he'll get to see all what is required for him. And the organization and employees are glued through this portal. So he will get to see his pay particulars, and you'll get to see the trends of how is his salary trend as pay slips and salary is growing. And he has his own analytics within that to see his trend graphs within that. So he can compare his pay and as well as look at his calendar for the week, how it looks, and so forth and so on, going and applying leave, checking his expenses and tracking, and if I'm an approver, getting and approving the employee's leave and claims and whatever the workflow that comes into my way. And if I were to summarize, these are the salient features that the daily HR covers. So it's a single workspace, as I said. So the employees will get to have everything they do in a single workspace, right from an end-to-end on a daily HR operations and as well as their support. And they can compare their payroll informations. That's very critical. As an employee, I would like to compare my salary, how is it from month on month and this year to next year, like that. So this is something I would like to take insights so that I can plan my well-being in terms of how is my growth in terms of my salary and as well as my benefits. And the platform comes with an intelligent assistant. That's wherein the generative AI and the intelligence comes into picture. And there is a digital assistant within the portal, within the workspace, to guide the employees to answer their questions around their pay. So if I have a questions hey, how is this taxes computed? How is my payroll is done? I feel my overtime is wrong. I feel my bonus is not computed rightly. I need not go to the payroll or disturb the payroll or the HR team. I can go and ask the assistant, and the assistant would, the chatbot sitting within inside will answer it. It's all within the same. And likewise, I can look at my entire timeline. How is my data is getting changed, or what is my career progression within organizations? What type of information has been changed, or what type of information I have changed in my employee portfolio? And that is something is visible for me in the timeline, which I can look at and audit anytime, and see that my data is protected. And likewise, for leave and expenses, being an operational HR which is tied up and glued up with the payroll, I can track my leave balances, my local holidays. I can look at my leave applications, apply for the leave. All can happen in the same workspace. I don't have to go out anywhere else. I don't have to worry about where to go. I don't have to worry about how to learn this, or even the HR doesn't need to worry about how to onboard an employee to make them know this product. This is self-explanatory, self-guided, and that's how done. And if you're managers, if you're approvals, the workflow is inbuilt. The approvals will come to you on your table. You just approve them. Look at that. How is the approval trail looks like? How many approvals are there? Get the intelligence over them. So all of this, it's sitting in a single workspace. That's the beauty of it. And it is responsive. It works on the desktop, it works on the mobile, and the chatbot is there. And if I have other mediums, if I want to move the chatbot on the mobile, I have it. So across multiple channels, the experience is same. So that's how it's going to connect the employees with the organization, with the. So we will demonstrate some of this soon, I think. So you might be wondering, wow, this is looking pretty cool. So let me have a look at it. We're going to demonstrate that to you. The next one is the payroll workspace. So next, the key module. I think this is a very vital one. A lot of thinking has gone into this. So we being spoken to many customers, we've been implementing for more than 2 decades. Their payroll solutions across various countries, and as well as talking to many analysts. And we ourselves process payroll for many organizations, multinationals. So we've gone through this entire science of what are the pain areas, what a payroll administrator goes through. And how do we enable them to cut down those mundane activities, whatever they do, so that they can contribute strategically into the boardroom, right? So if you look at here, it is again a single dashboard where a payroll admin can have the entire visibility and transparency in terms of what he's supposed to do. So it will have a guided approach, a stepper approach here, step by step, what I should be doing if it is a payroll week. And if the data is coming in from different sources, how do I monitor them? How do I reconcile the errors? And if I have a to-do task to do, we have also a services hub. All of these are bundled in this inside this, and the application will come with anomaly engine powered by AI/ML for you to reconcile the payroll, and finally to take out reports and submit your reports and submissions, all in in one dashboard. You will manage them entire end to end. So to summarize the salient features, the key highlights in this workspace, payroll workspace, one is you have an interface hub where the data are received, and we've seen there are multiple disparate systems. That's the way the industry works. So you have multiple HR systems. You have in HR systems a global HR system. You might have, be it a Workday or SAP or Oracle, or even tier 2 systems. We have connectors. We integrate them. And if you want RAMCO to hold your data, so we have the data as well. So integrating both inbound and outbound is very well monitored. So to give you to take away your pains of monitoring them, how do you look at without having to dependency on the IT folks, right? So sometimes the data is not received, the payroll doesn't know what has happened in between, what has happened in transition. So gone are those days. You will have a hub to really see that what's happened to your data and what are the errors it's missing, right? Now, which are the ones you have to take actions, and you can get into this hub and resolve there, right? And get it activated. So that is within the workspace built in. And we have a services hub, so to support your operations. And this is a very good hub, where it allows you to define your tasks, daily tasks, which includes various stakeholders who function within the payroll functions or internally and externally. So if you're having outsourced the payroll to us as well, so we have this service hub which is being transparent to know that what a stakeholder A does it, or RAMCO does it, what a customer does it, or when you're doing inside, you can see that who is supposed to do a task. Is it a finance? Is it an HR? All are laid out as per the timeline and calendar what you have for the payroll week, right? So that's published, and every day the tasks are monitored, it's alerted, if the SLA is maintained, it turns red if action is not taken, it alerts the people. So that's inbuilt, so you know that you don't miss out any of your timelines in terms of payroll, and highlights to what is it going on within the payroll. And we have an advanced error monitoring in across all of this, right, which is powered by AI/ML, anomaly engine. So we'll get in there. So it's a very scientifically proven algorithm, right, where it takes care of identifying your anomalies and outliers, bring in an entire error monitoring aspects quite smooth and efficient. So that is being built in. And this payroll space comes with a guided processing. So what you saw is that it guides you. The system will guide you what is supposed to be done. You don't have hassles what to be done on a particular day, and it can be quite very well automated. So anybody taking over in the payroll functions, they just come and take over. They know what to do, where the application is as of the current status of the application, which stage you are left in, you can take over, and that's the power of that. And very, very important, to make the payroll more efficient, we have built in a lightning fast in-memory processing. So the payroll gets really processed in a quite fast lightning speed. That's really, and the proof of the pudding is one second. So we have a case study which we share in a while, so where we have seen that the application can process 90,000 employees payroll, which used to be in 3 to 4 hours, it processes in less than 30 minutes. That's the power of it, 8 times faster. That's the power of that. And what happens is that next module which I like to introduce is the quick implementation kit. How do you enable all of this? How do you set up this? Is it going to be getting this setup is going to take in ages? No, it's not the intention, right? So get this inside, and to enable that, we've given a rapid implementation kit within that, so that it's like a DIY tool, do it yourself, right? So it enables anybody in the organizations and who can get in and set up their entire org structure and set up the various functions within the applications and monitor them, what is the progress of the setup when it's getting implemented. So it's self-explaining, in terms of where are we in terms of setup, and the package also comes up with pre-built packages within that so that you can adopt various localizations and standard best practices within the. So the overall it covers a Q&A based setup. So it's just like a sitting across the table, answering few sets of questions. Your processes are enabled. Right, so a consultant from us, sitting with you, taking you through, or you sitting along within your team, get into this QIK, go and answer those questions to set up your leave, to set up your payroll policies. Just answer those questions. The payroll is ready, set up, in terms of that. And it does a guided implementation tool within that. You set up your org structure, leave module. How do you set up? How this progresses? Is a guided steps are there, so you don't have to go through a rigorous training to do that. And within the setup, we have a country-specific localizations already comes in. So it will have the country-specific policies. So in Philippines, you will have the statutory country-specific localizations built in, as well as those industry-specific solutions as well. So if you're in a manufacturing, if you are in a services industry, there are sets of the standard components which functions within the payroll. It's are pre-built that comes in within the applications. So you got to just pick and choose which one you're using them, and just configure your payroll and configure your leave policies accordingly. And when it comes to implementation, bring your own data. Data migration is a nightmare, right? So how do I start using the new application? Right, so that is something it becomes a challenge for the team, always with IT. And that is not going to be any more a problem. You bring your own data into your templates, you bring in any templates, the system will accept. You bring your data and upload that, and it takes the life easier, in terms of getting the data up and running once the system is up. So that is something is a very, very important revolution, which we have brought in. And of course, to monitor all this, there is a progress dashboard. So the dashboard gives you the entire status of your implementation. Where does your setup staff? So you for your monthly or strategic reporting, where the application setup is going through, or where is the status of the application, they can just get to the dashboard and get to know that in real time what is happening. Where are we with respect to the implementation, and where are there challenges which we can resolve. And more importantly, how do you allow the application to extend it to some of your company specific or your company specific policies that may come in over and above whatever the standard rules or localizations what we have. That's wherein comes in we are removing the dependencies that which you may have with the vendors. So you are giving a rule builder within the application, which is a low code, no code. You go in there and set up your own rules. Like, no, you don't have to have a series of technical knowledge within that. So you go there, it's very easy. So you go there and learn and how to, like, put your conditions and apply the rule. So if you would like to pick up some pay component which suits you like 90-95%, if you like to tweak them, take that, clone them, tweak it, make it, run it in the workspace, right? So that's how easy is it. And if you have a totally new component that is coming in along the way, after you implement it down the line, there is a new policy you're implementing, there's a new incentive policy you're bringing in, go to rule builder, set up the rule by yourself, enable it in the workspace, like, so it works in compute. So, like, that's easy as that. So this gives you a very agile way of functioning, like, so again, connecting back to those challenges, what we saw initially, like, the changing demographics of the employees, and as well as, like, how payroll information, like, data is becoming more and more strategic to play. Okay. So next is the Bingo, BI tool. This is a strategic reporting and insights tool which you have built in, which is quite an intelligent tool, which accepts real-time data. You will get a dashboards, and you can do it by yourself. Like, on the go, you do it. So Bingo stands for BI on the go, right? Business intelligence insights on the go. You can just set up your own dashboards, slice and dice the inputs, integrate through various data sources. So it will have an exception analysis which you can do it, enable you to do exception analysis, draw out insights from the data, real-time data it integrates, right? And build your own reports if you need, because reporting is one of the challenges. Like, you want your own reports, build your own reports with a multi-level drill down to the lowest level entity, like, employee level, you want to drill down, and drag and drop interface, and totally zero code. Like, you don't have to code. And data connections are there to integrate. If the data is going to come from multiple sources, you have a data connector so you can integrate it, bring it here, do it by yourself. So that is part of this space solution, like, which will enable you to do your strategic aspects, like, where we can draw insights and data patterns, like, from there, and regulate your or strategize your policies accordingly, and all the workforce. So what is all these, like, powered by, like, how are, like, this entire technology is revolutionizing, like, so we're going through a total transformation. All the tech industries are going through that, right? Say HR tech or marketing, MarTech, now payroll tech, like, all that, right? Getting in. What are this powered by? It's totally, like, what are the things we brought in this is a design thinking, which you'll be seeing it, where it is very minimalistic in nature. Like, you show to the employee what is needed, and give him the steps, like, what guided steps, and progressively elaborate them, progressively show him, and bring in whatever is required on demand. So keep it simple, like, put design first thinking in place. That's how, like, the product is designed and brought in. And the architecture is a model-driven architecture, which allows you to expand and add, like, functions and features or entities as quickly as possible, because the architecture allows you that. So you bring in a new entity, or you bring in a new country to add in, comply to that, or extend your data to build in new policies. It's all driven that. So it's totally model-driven. And very importantly, like, the AI-driven compute power, which we have brought in now, which is serverless, distributed in-memory processing. So all are high-tech, like, high-tech words, like, what you see is nothing but your payroll is going to get processed in lightning speed, right? And finally, like, low code, no code. We're removing the barrier of, like, being a technical savvy to do things, right? So removing that, we're getting into a low code, no code, and of course, like, with lightning speed. And so this is what I was telling. Like, so when it says that, we are processing, we're scaling up, and when you have you look at, this is a case study, which is the proof of the pudding, like, what we have. We have 90,000 employees whose payroll is processed bi-monthly, right? Semi-monthly payroll, right? Like yours, right? So they are big MNCs, right? And they have a 1,300 pay elements, right? If you look at, like, this one, and close to, like, 110 million records, like, gets processed. It gets processed, which usually takes 3 to 4 hours, like, 3 to 4 hours in a previous one, which we brought down, of course, like, But right now it's getting processed in 30 minutes, 8x faster, like, 8 times faster. So that's the power of the engine, the in-memory engine that's processing, and is scalable. So right now you start with a small headcount of 1,000 or 2,000, and as you scale up, you don't have to worry. So the architecture which we have brought in is scalable, and it can bring in, like, that lightning speed in processing. So what it brings it to the table, finally, right? So the rapid implementation, we're looking at implementing in less than 6 weeks with the guided approach, whatever we spoke, the quick implementation kit. The quick implementation kit which we spoke allows you to do that. So less than 6 weeks, you can get up and running with a pace, right? And the entire user experience for each of the stakeholders in the organization, right? Employees or payroll administrators, right? Or the implementers who are implementing for you, right? Within the organization, or externally, and insights. Everything is having reimagined the UX as a design thinking what we brought in, and faster processing. I think if you have a problems of processing a payroll into hours or days, some we have seen it goes in days, it's quite fast, lightning processing, and reduction of work for payroll admin. So there's no burnouts for payroll admins anymore, right? It's a total cool experience it'll provide them, so that their bandwidths, their time is freed up to do a much more strategic role within the organizations, drawing out insights, and of course zero technical intervention to do all of them. So you can do it by yourself. That's what is our motto, DIY, do it by yourself in whatever you do it, and have the entire transparency and automations. Let's see the pace in action right now. Let the rubber hit the road. So we quickly do some demonstrations how this actions. So for this demo, we have taken 3 personas here. One, an employee persona. Laura is as an employee. As an employee, what you get to see is that I would like to see my pay slips or pay or my employee data, compare my pay, manage my leave, or manage approvals if I need to approve, and interact with a digital assistant so that I don't have dependency on HR or payroll admin to ask for my questions and queries around my pay slips or anything. So that's how we're taking this as a case in study so we will demonstrate that how the experience for the employees is going to be. Yep. So I have Jen. She's a consultant and specialist in the application. She's helping me to navigate the application, demonstrate. So I log in as an employee. I get to see the application as this is a single dashboard, a cool experience in terms of dashboard, all in one, right? I look at my pay slips. I look at my pay trends. I look at what is the activities for the week, or what is my week looking like, including what are the leaves I've applied, or my team members, what are the leaves I've applied. And likewise, I have a leave at the bottom, I do that. So when I look at my pay slips, if I like to view my pay slips to compare, so I can compare the pay slips in terms of actionizing it. So I look at and I go enable the compare pay slips here, and pick up the pay slips which I would like to compare, right? So very quick one, I do that within the same without getting to go out anywhere, and look at my pay details right now, month on month, how it is compared, how is the progression happens. So likewise I have other functions. Close on top. Other function within the application. So I get to the leave. So in the leave, if I like to look at my balances or apply for a leave, I quickly get into the leave section, look at the leave balances over there, and I can get down to apply for the leave. Okay. So I'm not going out anywhere. Just click there. My user experience adjusts accordingly within the form. I have a form on the right side. Get the form. I apply for the leave with the leave type, start date and end date, and I apply very easy as that as just quickly apply and do that with the simple steps. Whatever is minimal data entries required, I do that on that. So likewise, I can look at all my transactions and holiday masters, whatever required. So I go look at my entire balances here very quickly, look at my leave transactions, whatever has been applied, in the same window without going anywhere. And whatever with where it's pending for authorization, all of that is visible to me. I know that how many levels is going to go through, all of that at one's fingertip, have it. So likewise, I will have expenses, which I would do in expenses. When I'm looking at my payslip, if I have questions around my payslip, right? So that's wherein I get into the digital assistant, the Chia at here, and that's wherein I ask, the Chia comes up the AI assistant comes here, and that's wherein I'll ask for the salary to tell me what is the this one. So once you get those details, like no details, you can read through. You can read through all the details, like no, which is brings in into terms of where is my calculations going through. And I'll go through the timeline as well in terms of employee timeline. And I will look at the employee personal particulars. Like, when I look at my details, if I like to know where is my timeline looking like, so I click on the timeline, I get to see that whatever data changes that has happened within the application, right? So I will get to know that at what point in time what progression has happened. And that is very quickly, like, this will give me the insights about my own data, like, in the same employee self-service itself. See, the application also, like, helps you to show policies, right? So if employee wants to look out his policies on the dashboard, so he can quickly go in and pull out his policy on the. So you look at their leave policies. I can look at leave policies. So, and this leave policy is very personalized to the employee who is logging. It is not that you throw out to him like 15, 20 pages of a policy to go through. It'll become very contextual. And for this employee, for his grade, for his positions in the organization, what is the policy? So you get to know that, so you don't have to query and query the employees, like check with the HRs. So that's how an experience. So if you look at all along, I was in the same workspace, same dashboard in a single window, and I'm connected with the organization, getting my details, whatever is required within this. Now I'll move in as a payroll administrator, another persona, I myself as login as a payroll user. This wherein, when I log in as a payroll administrator, I would do the entire payroll functions within the organizations, right? So right from preparing myself for the payroll week, there are lots of activities I'll have to do it. So that's wherein I will have the workspace get opened up. This is the entire payroll workspace that comes up. And if you look at, there are multiple countries list there. So there are multiple countries. If there are payrolls running, I'm supposed to run for multiple countries, managing multiple payrolls that comes in. That's wherein the hybrid working of people are taken into account, right? In terms of compliances when they're working across different countries. And the payroll calendar picks up. So I'm in Philippines right now. So it picks up a fortnightly or semi-monthly payroll. And it'll show me that what are the payroll is active, which I need to manage. Right, so active payrolls comes here. So the regular semi-monthly payroll is active for me, for this month. When I get in there, I get to see the entire what is the guided step which I supposed to do. So when I get into the payroll, how do I manage? It's shown to me here. So when I click review inputs, the first step when I have the review inputs, I click them, I get to see the details. So this is wherein I get to see, and here if I like to know what is my tasks, that's where the services hub comes in. So when you click there, it shows me 6 tasks are pending with me, right? So there's nothing but this is the calendar, there's a timeline which tells me what are the tasks I should do it. So on the 6th of March or 7th of March or 9th of March, and who's supposed to do that? Is a payroll admin or is an HR or who's supposed to do that? Is shown there, and based on that, the application also will show which task is overdue. So when I click that, the overdue tasks, and wherein I go in and take action there, and which is with me, I go there and take an action and say that, okay, I take an action and approve it. If I need to apprise document, I complete it, right, and save it. The application will change from not completed to completed with overdue. So if this is already overdue, so it gives you a different color there, once I save that, it gives you a save it. And it gives you a different color there. So it'll do that. So once it goes through the approval, and system tracks all this as an audit. So as an audit, if it happens, it knows that now what task has happened, who has performed it, who has approved it, who has authorized it, was it done in SLA and as per the timeline, what is stipulated, everything's monitored there. So once, as per this, if I follow this, I come out. After seeing that, based on this, when I look through, first step is that I take in inputs. So I have a quickly, I can click on inputs. So that's wherein, you can provide the input, bring your data there, where, you can drag and drop your inputs that goes to the payroll, and system validates that, how many is uploaded, how many uploaded with errors, and all of that, right? So I can look at the logs there and take actions on the go, right? So this is visible to me. And likewise, close it. When I go back, Yeah, and files what is successfully processed and why it's failed. Likewise, if there are data coming in integrations, right? So when I click on integrations, all my integrations coming in from where it comes in. So if it comes from different systems, I will have each files, and it'll tell me like, within how many records like it's gone through. So 11 pending records are there, and the 2 is acted. So when I click that, it'll tell me like, what are the functions like that it has. So I can go through and sort out my integration or inputs that needs to come in. As a payroll admin, I'm not kept in dark in terms of like, what's happening with my information that's coming in. So once this is done, the next step is like, I go and run on any backdated payments that is due for this month. So I go through that and move on to processing payroll finally. So when I click payroll, and it gives me a summary of whatever I'm processing as a tracking of that. So I click process payroll. So when I would like to process, click them, the system gets into processing, right? That's wherein like, so if you look at here, it's processing 2,000 employees, right? Close to like 130 pay elements, which translates to like 6 to 8 million records, like it's getting processed right now. It's a live processing that's happening. And if you view the details there, it gives me the tracking of what is happening. It's like your Grab food, like when you order, where is the guy coming right now. You ordered it, it's processing, it's in the kitchen, it's moving. Similar to that, the progress, what's happening. So it's preparing, it's processing, it's finalizing, right? Scroll down a bit. So as you go through that, it also tells what the duration, when is the starting time, and it's processing close to like 6 to 8 million, 6 million records almost, like it's processing there with 2,318 pay elements there. And finally, like, it gives you like a real-time visibility in terms of like how is your payroll progression. So while I is speaking, let's check it out. So it's processed. While this would take like 25 to 30 minutes to process, you could see that it processes in 46 seconds. Just fast as that. Like that's quick. That is what you'll get to see that, and that's the speed. And you can imagine if you scale up to 90,000 employees, which you saw that it's getting processed in less than 30 minutes. That's the power of the processing, what happens. And the systems automatically scales their processing and the capacity as the organization grows. So once the payroll processing is done, the next thing is I would go and look at my reports, right? So before I check the reports, I would look at can you close that? I would look at how do I reconcile my anomalies, right? That's wherein within this tab at the bottom, you will see the anomaly coming in. So this is powered by artificial intelligence, machine learning, and that's wherein system would give you a gradient of anomaly engine in terms of what are the anomalies and outliers the system has identified. It will classify them what are in acceptable range, which is a known reasons, and what is justifiable. There are changes because of dependent changes that happens in the organization. Say if your triple SSS undergone there's a change in the rates. That's wherein this justified it goes in. And unknown errors is the one where employee has to focus and resolve. So if you click that, it'll give you an enablement how do you focus to resolve them. So you do it in the same workspace. Once you resolve that, once you're done that, the next step is you can go and download the reports. So this is entirely audited and it is done accordingly. So once you click the reports, the reports are you can download those reports and submit them. So that's the power of this. And we move on to the next one. So and that's the swiftness how it does it. So everything is there. You monitor your integration, data is collected, you upload your data, you progress, process, the transparency is there, everything is audited. You can take control of things, all of them, and you can do your payroll activities in time. And you can imagine how it's going to transform the life of a payroll admin within the organization. Next thing, I think we are running short of time. I think you can book for demos. So that's what we're going to have that later on. So let me just give a quick peek view of the quick implementation kit what we have, right? So how it enables you. So when I log in as a implementer, right? So I'm logged in as implementer. Jan is logged in as implementer there. System shows what are all the the entities within the organizations that's running. If I click the show hierarchy there. These are the entities all are configured. When I click the show hierarchy, it'll show as per the hierarchy within the organization. So when I go down, drill down, I look at how this is falling in place. When I click RAMCO system and see where it's coming in. When I click there, this is the one how it will display the dashboard how is the progress of my implementation happening. So if you look at each of the modules or each of the functions which I am getting implemented, it gives me a progress here. like how like in an operations it does, even implementation progress. So you don't need to have a status reports. This is enough like to give it to your program management office, right? So this will give you a guided step. So if I click, say for example, payroll setup, how do I do a setup there? So when I click that, and this is wherein like I have a guided step here, what I should be doing, how am I implementing after my setting an organization. So if I click import legacy elements, if you have your legacy elements, when I click that, you can import them. So system can take your legacy elements and compare with the pre-packaged elements with us and do the auto mapping for you, right? That easy as that. So when I get into the pay sets and elements there, after this, system will, and I review that, system will take in your inputs and compare, and it will show me like, click on the map elements under the regular semi-monthly, click one of the map elements, yeah. Map elements. So what happens like this is the payroll I'm running. That's why I'm going there. So if you look at here, these are the pay components like which is all got auto mapped already, right? With the information side. So it will show you the details here. Any of these elements you want to unmap, you can do that here, or you want to add up new pay elements, you can add it here and define them, right? So that easy as that. Once you are done this, you can up and running. In case if you have your company specific pay element or something like you want to tweak the policy and rule, that's wherein we have a rule builder. So if you get in there on the rule builder, so that easy as that you can go to the rule building, close that. Go left. So we go through the side one, so this one, and go to the rule builder. Okay, big ones. Okay. Yeah. On the side tray on top. Yeah. So go to the process flow management. So you have a rule engine here. So let me show the rule engine how it looks. There are various processes you quickly go inside. It shows me what are the pay components that is defined. So when I click that, when I edit, when I try to tweak them, when I look at that, the entire rule builder opens here. When I uncheck that edit mode, when I go in there, the rule engine opens up. It shows me the entire formulas how it's done, and I can go through and validate my policies, right? And if I need to tweak and add anything, I can click on expand, or I can change accordingly. You can do it by yourself. There are conditions are there. Once you define this and package it inside, the rule is up and running. So that easy as that. So there's no code, right, involved. So you can imagine how fast you can get it implemented. That's why we're saying that less than 6 weeks we can implement. Your rapid implementation that enables that. And we quickly show you the insights, the bingo tool, the reporting tool which is embedded. So if you go back as a payroll admin. So when an admin is there, right? So when he's looking at the payroll, and if he wants new reports to be developed or take new insights with the data, whatever you have, I go in there, I click. That is also within the same payroll workspace, right, with you. So if you need reporting, that gets enabled for those particular users. You get in there, it redirects you to the reporting dashboard. You look at a sample dashboard what the payroll admin has done for himself, right? So you look at here the data. It gives a heat map. This is one of the typical data slice and dice I'm doing. So I have a heat map on a pay element wise, how it is being apportioned across various one. I can expand this if I want to further look through the heat map, the expand button. The next one, yes. If you expand this, you will get to know that the entire comparison between month on month versus how is the other deductions versus non-payables to earnings, it's functioning, how the gradient looks like now, what contributing more towards the deviations between the months, which is getting gradually improved, an analysis can be done. Close that. So likewise, if I want to get to the details, slice and dice I can do is location-wise, employee headcount, Manila is slice and dice. Go back, Manila I click. When I click Manila here, first tab, it gets me into the next level of slicing, right? So I get into this, go to at the employee level details I can look at. I can department-wise slicing and I can do that. So that easy as that. So when I can apply filters so when I go back, when I apply filters, I would like to gender-wise, I say, okay, I need to slice and dice, or age-wise, I need to slice and dice here. I can apply the filters and I get them. So that easy as that, and this, you can do it by yourself. You can build a dashboard by yourself or reporting by yourself, whatever you require, and take the insights to the boardrooms. So that's how a peak view of solution looks like. It's a tremendously very cool, and it's totally revolutionizing the solution we are building, and we are proud of that to implement it. You can request for demos. We can do a demonstrations, and And that's it we have for now. And let us know if you have any questions when we have catch-up sessions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Frank, for the insightful presentation. If you have to take away one thing from Frank's presentation, what would it be? Payroll is giving competition to Grab. It's faster than Grab. So you can order your food, but the payroll can be run multiple times before your food comes. So, that's the speed, technology. You look at AI, everything is AI enabled and driven. All insights, all the, stuff that Frank showed, dashboards, it's something that you can create. So the power of the system is now in the hands of the user. That's the revolution that's happening. If you looked at the earlier video, one of our customers, General Electric, said that they have been with us from 2008, so it's 16 years with RAMCO. In these 16 years, they have changed 2 major HR systems. Excellent systems. I don't want to name them, but brilliant systems, world-class systems. Payroll did not change. The payroll is a pain. Not everybody can handle. Payroll is something that you need years and years of expertise, IP, you need the intelligence and knowledge. All that combined is what is being presented in a very easy to use and simple, intuitive format, to the market today. So thank you, Frank. Very insightful. Now, I would like to quickly request one of the, passionate payroll lovers. He likes to be called that way, and also one of the, one of the most influential and I think thought leader, I would say, that I've come across in Philippines. He's going to share a bit of insight. So he was there today, and he requested him if he could just run through. So please, TJ, welcome on board.
Thank you, Ramos. Hello, can everyone hear me? Sorry, am I audible? Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and this is a quick, I'll try to make this short but sweet. So I bring with me 27 years. I started working at 10. So 27 years, I started with Intel as a management trainee in HR systems. My background was IT, and I was asking myself, why am I in HR? I have a classmate in the same program. He was under IS, and I was under HR. So I was asking myself, why am I in HR? And that was when I realized that as early as late 90s, early 2000, Intel was already trying to automate HR. And that was when I met RAMCO. Franklin was already there, so the age will already be seen here, but I met them during the time, and that was when we started to automate payroll. After 7 years with Intel, I moved into Sykes, now Found Ever. I was an HRIS manager for close to 3 years in Sykes Asia. And then after that, I moved to IBM, where I became a transitions and transformation manager. And I was surprised that one of my clients, Sir Phil Whitley, is present this afternoon. It's nice seeing Phil after all these years. And my last role was with Coca-Cola. I was with Coca-Cola for 12 years, and right now I'm on my 3rd month of just trying to chill after 12 good years or 27 good years of working. So when RAMCO told me that they wanted to do a quick sharing, I'd like to incorporate all the things I've learned in all the 27 years on areas that everyone here is able to relate. HR systems, HR technology, HR shared services, being an HR director, a CEO, and how do we be a part of the boardroom conversation. So this is the world today, and I'd like the help of our team to kindly click on the video. And I'd like you to watch this video, and this will be our baseline for our conversation.
Welcome to Wendy's. What would you like?
Hi, could I have a number 7, no ketchup, large size with Coke Zero?
Would you like anything else?
10-piece nuggets with sweet and sour sauce.
Would you like to make that a combo?
No, thank you.
Would you like anything else?
Can I get a ghost pepper ranch sandwich, no lettuce, extra onions? Actually, cancel that.
Can I get you anything else today?
What year is it?
It is 2023.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Great. Please pull up to the next window.
So when I was trying to prepare for this, I saw this video, and it was a partnership between Google and Wendy's in the United States, wherein they would like to re-engineer how drive-through is being done, wherein the experience of someone who consumes the product will be different. And I asked myself, have we tried doing this in our world in HR? Have we tried to transform or rock the boat, so to speak? And I'd like to share to you how, in my previous experience, how we were able to more or less try to rock the boat or rock HR in terms of things that sometimes are not being thought of. So today we talk about how do we transition HR from being back office to boardroom. Luke earlier was talking about Chinese New Year. I remembered Christmas. And there's this, I'm not sure if it's a Philippine tradition, but we try torturing kids during reunions wherein we try to make them sing and dance in front of the aunties and uncles. We've had that experiences when we were kids, and some of us will be traumatized that if your kid is good in math, show them that you're good in math, show them that you're good in singing. And if I made an analogy that in HR, we have those good kids that you tend to present to your aunts and aunties. It's the CEO of Total Rewards that speaks to the GM. It's the head of recruitment that talks about branding strategy. But where is the kid that doesn't do much or feels that the GM or the aunties and uncles won't mind? And that's shared services. We're in the kitchen. We're cooking. We're preparing. We're the shy kid that doesn't have the opportunity to speak to an auntie or to an uncle. I try to bring that analogy in HR because we're like that. When you go to a boardroom conversation, it's always the HR business partner. It's most of the time your recruitment and Total Rewards that speak to the GM. When do shared services or payroll manager get to speak to a GM? When there's a payroll issue, when there is a delay in payroll, when the unions, for those who are unionized, are already rallying because I am unable to deliver payroll. We speak to the GM when there's a problem. And that's the sad reality for most HR shared services, most HR payroll leaders. The reality of today is no one wants to manage time and attendance in payroll. Unfortunately, the reality is someone has to do it. Someone has to brave and someone has to do it. I remember when I was with Sykes, and they don't know that I'm in HR systems or in HR, and I was with the payroll team. We were in the elevator. And that was early 2000s, early 2004, where Sykes was trying to bring too many people, and we were trying to build the biggest call center in the Philippines, and it was so difficult to track time and attendance. And they were all complaining in the lift, oh, HR is so slow, my payslip, they didn't even know that we were HR. But that's how operations saw us. We were not being able to pay people on time. During my first 2 years in Coca-Cola, I experienced watching a rally in front of our old office in Pasong Tamo when I saw placards, my overtime is late, or my payslip is late. And I said, that's what we do. That's what we do every day. And people are complaining that we're unable to deliver. We're unable to deliver what they expect us to deliver. So it's a painful ownership of something that no one wants to do. There's even a joke when I was early in Coca-Cola and I was questioning myself, why are we doing this in HR? This is not an HR job. This is a job of, let's say, IT. Or why are we doing this in HR? You know what the people told me 12 years ago when I joined Coca-Cola? If no one wants to do it, give it to HR. That's what they told me. If no one wants to do it, give it to HR. And then try to think about it. I've been in HR in most of my organizations, and it's a reality because we tend to accept it. We tend to accept that, okay, well, I'll just have to do it because that's how things are done. Now, let's focus on payroll because that has been our topic. So, raise your hands if you remember this. Okay, no one wants to raise your hands because it's a sign of age. But some of us started, I fortunately did not, but some started their careers with this. You have to write your name in a time card, and you run to the Bundy clock, and you have to time in. And there was even a time wherein you don't get your payroll from an ATM machine, you get your payroll in an envelope. And that was the payroll of, say, early 90s, late 90s, all the way to some parts of 2000. But I don't want to say that we have not done anything. I think this team has transformed payroll in different forms and sizes. And RAMCO and I have been partners when I was with IBM. We re-engineered Singapore IBM's payroll that has been in the 80s. But in early 2000s, we were able to change that. And we did the same in Coca-Cola. So we've seen a lot of things. Earlier, Franklin showed a lot of sexy stuff on how PAYCE is going to re-engineer, but we're not going to speak more of that today. We also saw how we transform payroll from insourcing to outsourcing. But our topic is how do we go and bring payroll from back office to a boardroom conversation. This topic will not be done by payroll alone, so I'll speak to HR. Or to our HR directors. Because there is a need for us to transform the people function. One of my leaders in Coca-Cola, she was new in the organization and they called for a town hall. She was in one of our plants and she did the town hall, unscheduled, bring people in the head office, all in one room. So she was in the middle of the room, next to the GM of the country, and people started entering the room. She told us that she realized and she observed that no one was sitting to her left or to her right. Everyone who entered the room were all towards the end of the table. And when they started entering, then she asked, can I know who are those people at the end of the table? Guess who? HR people. They entered the room first, but they don't have the guts to sit next to the head of HR Global, next to the country GM. They were all at the back. There were so many seats in front, but they decided to stay in the back. And that was the realization that she told us. How can HR be in a boardroom conversation if you can't even sit beside your GM? You're trapped outside and at the end of the table. So she challenged us that you need to be the big dog in the conversation. How can HR be the big dog in the conversation wherein there is one sofa and I sit in front? And I'll try to occupy the entire seat because I want to have a boardroom conversation. I want my thoughts as HR leaders, to be part of boardroom conversations. And not just because I'm running late in payroll, or have an issue with the union, or I have a complaint of people, or we're changing cafeteria vendors. One of my former bosses in Coca-Cola, Jen Garcia, challenged us one day when we're all HR, in one of our meetings. He told us that if you wake up today and your first agenda that popped into your head is, what is the food in the cafeteria today? Then you're not an HR leader. Because if you wake up one day and your concern is food in the cafeteria, I know admin is one of the 10 things that we juggle. But if you wake up one morning and your problem is food in the cafeteria and your title is HR director, are you giving justice to your role in the company? Because as an HR leader, you have to be there. How can I grow the business to the next level? How can I partner with my CEO to bring HR to the next level? Do I have the right talent to bring this to the next level? Am I hiring the right talent? But if I am not doing that, then that's the challenge. How do we have a boardroom conversation if we are not going to talk about things that matter? Prior the reorg and prior my end of my 12 years in Coca-Cola, we were trying to re-engineer payroll. We were trying to ask ourselves, what's wrong with how things are being done in payroll? How will we be able to get the attention of a GM or a leader to give attention to us in payroll or in shared services? One of the things that we have realized is we tend to complicate payroll. We just came out of a pandemic. 2 years plus minus, we were all reporting hybrid. One of the markets was reporting in one of our meetings, and I questioned the leader of the shared services team that reported to me. Because the leader told me that they are now preparing the time clock machines. They were now checking the time clock machines because there is now a call to return to work. And I told him, we survived a lockdown for 2.5 years and 3 years wherein most people did not time in, time out. And it worked. Now that there's a call to return to office, we are again turning on the time clock machines. Why? Because it was the practice before. Maybe you can ask yourselves, if you're running payroll, have you changed anything since day one that you took the ownership of payroll? Or you're running payroll because that was how they run payroll 10 years when I sat on this role? Because those were the realizations that we have realized. We try to force RAMCO, we try to force our payroll partners too many things, but we are realizing that it doesn't even add value. One of the things is very strict time and attendance. One of our markets implemented RAMCO, and they have this biometrics. And I said, do you even want to have a biometric scanner of RAMCO near the toilet? Because they want to cut all corners, make sure that everyone is in the line, everyone doesn't. So even, I was joking, do you even want to know if they're breathing? And then compute their pay. Because it was too tight, it was too complicated, and I said, no payroll vendor will be able to give you the right tool. Because our policies were too strict, too locked on how the tradition was. So in our study, we said that maybe is it possible for us that since directors and up are not timing in, timing out, and we saw that our office worker or support function, non-officers or non-managers are also not timing out, can we just time in, time out for blue-collar workers? Because the blue-collar workers, those are reporting on a shift, those are the people that have overtime, then we need them to have their time in, time out. And if you were going to look at it, that's what, 30% of your population. So if you're going to have that change on transforming, that's a boardroom conversation. Hey GM, I'm cutting my payroll, my cost to payroll by X%. Because instead of processing 10,000 time and attendance, I'm only going to process 300. Because we realize that only 300 requires time in, time out. So those are the things that we have realized. We have very much complicated policies and processes. We have lots of complicated stuff that we will need to ask ourselves, is it really still adding value? There are three main people that you'd like to ask yourself and reflect. You have to know, if you want to transform your payroll, you have to look at 3 areas. Again, your employees is number 1. Your leaders are number 2. But I added 1 area, your team. Because sometimes, and this is a realization from my team in Coca-Cola before, we always want to make sure that our employees are happy. I want to make sure that the boss is happy. But have you asked the person running payroll, are you happy? They're the ones who's running overtime just to run payroll. They're the ones who will brave flood, earthquake, and everything just to process payroll. So make sure that your tool, make sure that your systems are always the best in the market. So when we come now to the last slide, and as to put all into place, everyone wants to be in a boardroom conversation. Who doesn't want? We want to be in a boardroom conversation for the right reasons. And we've seen companies that have transformed this. Some of the companies have accomplished this. So we have the likes of Lena Nair, who headed Chanel. She was the head of HR. Now she is the GM of Chanel. We have Mary Barra of General Motors. Leaders who used to be HR leaders who are now leading their companies. And also Anne of Xerox. These are leaders who were able to sit under the HR organization and then later on become CEOs of their respective organizations. They took the challenge of being the big dog in the conversation. So if you want to aspire and focus more on payroll and focus more on tool delivery, things that I have learned in my conversations with our GMs in the various markets, as far as our employees are concerned, they just want to make a tool so easy to use. You can have all the sexy stuff, but they just want to click a button and that's it. They just want to click. They don't want the fancy stuff. I like to click a button, that's it. Now, I was happy when Franklin was sharing that things will be fast, because that's me talking to my shared services team. Okay? The sad reality is sometimes when you knock on their doors of our GM, we will tell the GM, we run payroll 10 times faster. We run payroll at accurate rate. One of the things that I realized in Coca-Cola, they don't care. Why? It's an expectation to the job. You're the head of shared services. One of your jobs is to run payroll timely and accurately. Don't report that as an SLA if you want a boardroom conversation. Because if you're still creating an SLA, counting accuracy and timeliness, talk to your HR team, to your shared services team. That's the conversation for your team. But for a boardroom conversation, that's not the conversation. I had that opportunity where I said, boss, did this, that, and I was roasted for hours. And my boss told me, that's not the conversation that you will need to have to your GMs, because they don't care. And I had my conversation with RAMCO in some of our projects. They don't care if you run payroll accurately. It's a given. Why are you there if you can't run payroll on time? Why are you there if you're not able to run payroll accurately? What is a conversation to leaders and stakeholders? Overtime. They want overtime analytics. I interviewed all the GMs of Coca-Cola in all of our markets, in 16 markets all over Asia Pacific, and that's what I got. If you're payroll, they want overtime because it's operating expense. It affects the financials monthly. And they want to know which department is incurring a lot of overtime because they want to call out. They don't care if you're running payroll on time. They don't care if you're running payroll accurately. Because that's a given. They want analytics. They want to press a button and it's there. They don't want to call the HR head. They don't want to call the analytics person. They just want to click a button. Okay, because that's the realization. They want an ROI. Because they already invested in RAMCO. They already invested in the tool. They really invested in building shared services. Okay, because that was our narrative. When we built shared services, we will cut processes, we will simplify, we will digitalize. When you were rallying, we deployed success factors in 16 countries. That's one of my last roles. They don't care. Because at the end of the day, they want ROI because they gave you the money. The ROI is analytics. The ROI is I press a button, this is RAMCO. RAMCO is not a fast payroll tool for them. RAMCO is not a speed for payroll. RAMCO is what I will click and that's where my analytics will be. So, again, it's about time that we talk about when will HR be able to sit at the boardroom conversation. And I know that there's still a lot of stories. We'll still enjoy and have lunch and talk about things if you want. But I'd like to thank RAMCO for this opportunity. And again, I leave you with, we were able to do it, or our organization in the past, we were able to do it. It's not yet 100%. We're always in those conversations, but we are starting, or we became a big dog in the conversation. And that's a challenge that I leave to everyone, and that's for us in HR to start being a big dog in the table. So again, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. I think the last 3 hours that you spent with us, I hope it was informative, and we will be available for any questions that you may have. Thank you for the wonderful event, and we look forward to working.
Bravo, very nice, a pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Really nice to have everyone. So let's enjoy a nice lunch. Very good. it's an exciting time for all of us, and part of that is, globalizing with software and systems that both not just appeal to young people, but really excite them and get things moving ahead.
Here in the Philippines, we have our local and payroll BPO centers here in the Philippines. You can see the faces here. We have locals, we have internationals as well. So we have our local processors and even the support team we have here in the Philippines. And even the implementation team you can see also here in RAMCO office. So that's about RAMCO System Philippines.
Great growth that we have seen, and this number is going to be doubling now, and it's because of the need in the market today, and this is where RAMCO comes in to create that innovation in the IT.
And hybrid working, it also brings in how you collect the data. So when you work from home, how do you get the data in terms of your working attendance? So if there's a blue collars, if you have a blue collars, their attendance needs to be collected, and that's where how you do attendance collections, overtimes, how they perform, are they really working? Do I need to geofence them? Do I need to collect the data? How do the data come into the payroll?